This Rise and Shine podcast series has been made possible by the generosity of the Zeidelman Family Foundation. We are grateful to Sherry Savette of Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania for sponsoring this episode.
Every single one of us has a personal superpower. The very things that cause us the most challenges in life are the birthplace of our very greatness, the place where we discover who we were, who we are, and what we can be.
This is Rise and Shine, a podcast that offers timeless wisdom and uplifting meditations to fill your heart, feed your soul, and start your day on a positive note. Here is Adrienne Gold Davis.
There's a Jewish proverb that says, "I ask not for a lighter burden, but for broader shoulders." What a lofty thing to ask for. It's practically superhuman. Don't we all want an easier life? A less heavy burden? Is there something that we're missing out on by opting for comfort over growth? I was thinking about all this the other night as I flipped on the TV. They were playing a marathon of the Superman 1, 2, 3, and 4 movies, the ones that starred that young and achingly handsome Christopher Reeve. I turned it off quickly, though, because I can no longer watch Mr. Reeve as the Man of Steel, that superhero with a superpower that only kryptonite can diffuse. Because I believe that Christopher Reeve did not truly become a superhero until after his horrible accident that left him paralyzed. According to Wikipedia, beginning in the 80s, Reeve was an activist for the environmental and human rights causes and for artistic freedom of expression. After the accident, he lobbied for spinal cord injury research, including human embryonic stem cell research, and for better insurance coverage for people with disabilities. His advocacy work included leading the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation and co-founding the Reeve-Ervin Research Center. Christopher Reeve died on October 10th, 2004, at the age of 52. He left a legacy of activism and public service that will endure long after anyone remembers him as an actor. And he's not the only human being whose superpower was born of difficulty, of pain and suffering. In fact, it was perhaps because of those things that many human beings discover their greatness, what lies within. You know, some years back, in Jerusalem, I had the privilege to meet the amazing Dr. Rachamim Melamed Cohen, the former National Supervisor of Educational Programming for Israel's Department of Education. A prolific educator, a lecturer, a speaker. He contracted ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, and he became paralyzed from the neck down. In fact, all that he could use and control were his eyelids. And yet, in his own words, he describes the miraculous access to a yet untapped power that he found when all his other avenues of communication were shut down to him. A supercomputer with a Photoshop program liberated his latent artistic abilities, and he became prolific. He said that, and I quote, "After I learned how to use the Photoshop program, my artistic talents burst into the visual area. By slight movements of my eye and blinks of my eyes, I've painted tens of pictures. The pictures on the theme of eyes in the Bible merited an exhibition in the Jerusalem Theater, another in the Beit HaTanach in Tel Aviv, and the production of a prestigious, high-quality collector's album. Thus came an additional tikkun, a rectification, to my blow." You know, Dr. Cohen served in the IDF as a paratrooper, as a gunner, in an artillery unit, and an education officer. He got a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD from Hebrew U. He chaired a special education department in Jerusalem College for Women for 25 years. In short, he was profoundly accomplished and utterly alive. And yet, losing the senses and mobility he'd relied upon revealed to him a rich well of talent and passions that he had never even contemplated. And so when I asked him, "Were you always so prolific an artist?" He carefully blinked out his answer on his blink-activated computer screen. It took time, but this is what it read. "No," he said. "That was only gifted to me, only revealed to me when I lost the ability to speak." The common thread between these two men, as I see it, is that they both refused to be defined exclusively or held back by their illnesses. On the contrary, they found their superpowers when and where they least expected it. And we, the world, are all the richer for it. They asked for broader shoulders, and they were granted them. This is more than resilience. It is the triumph of the human spirit. This is what it means to have a superpower. It's the power to transform the tragic to the triumphant, the power to choose life. Every single one of us has a personal superpower. It may be the thing that gives us the most pleasure, and so we've honed it and nurtured it to perfection. It might be a natural talent or a cultivated ability that makes us feel like we were born to do this thing or another. But this thing we so rely upon within our identities and self-esteem may not be the power that will define us ultimately. And while we never, ever want tragedy or trauma to help us uncover what we never thought we were able to do, we sometimes find that the very things that cause us the most challenges in life are the birthplace of our very greatness, the place where we discover who we were, who we are, and what we can be. There's another Jewish proverb that says, "He that can't endure the bad will not live to see the good." And perhaps that's the key to discovering your own superpower. Learn to endure the bad, knowing that perhaps you will uncover the good you never expected to find. So this week, can you ask for broader shoulders instead of attempting to lighten the load? Can you dig deep into the hidden recesses of your mind, body, and soul and activate the strength and willpower to make a difference, to lend a hand? Because when we do, even the small efforts guide us toward the Wonder Woman within, and she is in all of us. Go ahead, put on your cape.
Thanks for listening to Rise and Shine. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to Momentum Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Join Adrienne again next time for more timeless wisdom and uplifting meditations that fill your heart, feed your soul, and start your day on a positive note.
This podcast was sponsored by the Zeidelman Family Foundation. Spread the wisdom. Inspire Jewish individuals around the globe by supporting Momentum's podcasts. To sponsor, contact podcast@momentumunlimited.org. You're listening to a Momentum podcast. For unlimited inspiration, wisdom, and empowerment, visit momentumunlimited.org.